Imagine standing on a small island at the very edge of Europe. Surrounded by cold seas and unpredictable weather, it seemed like an unlikely place to shape the course of human history. There were no vast deserts filled with gold, no endless fertile plains, and no mighty empire waiting to be inherited. Yet from this small group of islands would rise one of the greatest powers the world had ever known. Geography would become Britain's greatest advantage. Protected by the sea, separated from mainland Europe, this island was difficult to conquer and impossible to ignore. Long before Britain ruled the oceans were already shaping Britain's destiny. But Britain wasn't always an island. Thousands of years ago, during the last ice age, these lands were connected to Europe by a vast plain now hidden beneath the North Sea. Families of hunter-gatherers followed giant herds across this frozen landscape, never knowing that nature itself was about to redraw the map forever. As the climate warmed, glaciers melted and the seas rose higher with every passing century. Slowly, the ancient land bridge disappeared beneath the waves. Britain became an island, and with that single change, its future would follow a path unlike any other nation in Europe. As the ice slowly disappeared, people began returning to this newly formed island. They came not as conquerors or kings, but as families searching for safety, food, and a place to call home. They could never have imagined that the land beneath their feet would one day become the center of a global empire. For thousands of years, life began to change. Hunting was slowly replaced by farming. Families settled in permanent villages, raising animals, growing crops, and building communities that would survive for generations. Britain was no longer just a place to pass through. It was becoming a homeland. Then came one of history's greatest mysteries. Across the rolling plains of southern Britain, enormous stones weighing many tons were transported for miles and carefully raised into place. Even today, archaeologists continue to debate exactly how Stonehenge was built and why. Was it a temple, a giant calendar, a place of ceremony, or something entirely different? No written records remain to answer those questions. Yet one thing is certain. Long before Britain became known for kings, ships, and empire, its people were already capable of creating monuments that would outlive civilizations. Centuries passed, and new peoples shaped the island. Among them were the Celts, whose tribes spread across much of Britain. Built hill forts, mastered ironworking, traded across Europe, and developed rich traditions that still echo through parts of Britain today. Britain was not a single nation, it was a patchwork of independent tribes, each with its own leaders, customs, and ambitions. They shared a common heritage, but they were often rivals as much as neighbors. Unknowingly, they stood on the edge of a new chapter, one that would bring an empire unlike anything they had ever faced.